Tonight, as the weight of another day settles upon your shoulders and the silence of darkness begins to wrap around you, I want you to know something profound. You are not meant to carry the burdens of this world alone. Your heart, weary from the battles fought in secret, your mind, restless from the worries that echo in the quiet moments, your soul, longing for a peace that seems just beyond reach. All of this was meant to be held by loving hands far greater than your own. Maybe as you listen to these words, you feel like you're drowning in a sea of responsibilities, expectations, and fears that no one else can see. Perhaps you've been wearing a mask of strength for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to simply rest. Tonight, I want to invite you into something beautiful, something transformative, something that will change the very rhythm of your heart. Jesus is standing at the door of your weary soul, waiting with arms wide open, ready to take every anxious thought, every broken dream, every shattered hope, and hold them with the tenderness of perfect love. He sees the tears you've cried in private. He knows the prayers you've whispered when no one was listening, and he understands the depth of your need for true, lasting peace. This isn't just another bedtime prayer or a simple routine to help you sleep. This is an invitation to experience the supernatural embrace of the one who spoke the stars into existence, yet chooses to whisper your name with infinite gentleness. Tonight, you're about to discover what it means to let the Creator of the universe cradle your heart like a precious treasure. Before we begin this sacred journey together, I want you to take a moment and prepare your heart for what's about to happen. Find yourself in a place where you can be completely honest, completely vulnerable, completely yourself. Release the need to perform, to be strong, to have it all figured out. Tonight, you get to be a child again, safe in the arms of perfect love. The truth is, most of us have forgotten how to truly rest. We've become so accustomed to the noise of anxiety, the constant chatter of worry, the relentless pressure to keep moving, that we've lost touch with the profound peace that comes from genuine surrender. But Jesus offers something different. He offers a rest that goes deeper than sleep, a peace that surpasses understanding, a love that never fails. Tonight, as we journey together through this prayer, you're going to experience what happens when you allow the Prince of Peace to hold your heart. You're going to feel the weight of your worries dissolve in his presence. You're going to sense the gentle transformation that occurs when you stop trying to control everything and start trusting in his perfect love. I've walked this path myself, through seasons of overwhelming anxiety, nights when sleep felt impossible, days when the future seemed uncertain and frightening. I know what it's like to feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, to feel responsible for outcomes you can't control, to lie awake at night replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow, feeling the crushing weight of expectations. But I've also experienced the miraculous peace that comes when you truly let Jesus hold your heart. I've felt the supernatural calm that washes over you when you stop fighting and start resting in his embrace. I've witnessed the transformation that happens when you trade your fears for his faith, your anxiety for his peace, your control for his perfect plan. What makes tonight different from every other night is that you're making a conscious choice to stop carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours. You're choosing to trust that the one who holds the entire universe in his hands is more than capable of holding your heart, your dreams, your fears, and your future. As we prepare to enter into this sacred time of prayer, I want you to understand that this isn't about following a formula or saying the right words. This is about opening your heart to receive the love that has been waiting for you all along. This is about allowing yourself to be held, to be comforted, to be completely loved just as you are. Jesus doesn't require you to clean up your act before you come to him. He doesn't need you to have your life perfectly organized or your emotions under control. He simply invites you to come as you are, with all your mess, all your questions, all your brokenness, and all your beautiful imperfections. He sees the real you, and he loves what he sees. Tonight you're going to discover that letting Jesus hold your heart isn't about losing control. It's about finding the peace that comes from trusting perfect love. It's about experiencing the rest that your soul has been craving, the comfort that your heart has been seeking, the assurance that you are held, you are loved, and you are never alone. The world tells us that we need to be strong, independent, self-sufficient. But Jesus whispers a different truth. He tells us that true strength comes from knowing when to rest, true wisdom comes from knowing when to surrender, and true peace comes from allowing ourselves to be held by love that will never let us go. As we move forward together, I want you to release any expectations about how this should go or what you should feel. Instead, simply open your heart to receive whatever Jesus wants to give you tonight. Maybe it's peace for your anxious thoughts. Maybe it's comfort for your grieving heart. Maybe it's hope for your weary soul. Maybe it's simply the assurance that you are deeply, completely, unconditionally loved. Your heart has been through so much. It has loved and lost, hoped and been disappointed, trusted and been betrayed. It has carried burdens too heavy for its capacity, wrestled with questions too complex for simple answers, and longed for a peace that seems too good to be true. Tonight, all of that changes. Jesus sees your heart not as broken or damaged, but as precious and worthy of the most tender care. He sees your struggles not as failures, but as opportunities to demonstrate his faithfulness. He sees your questions not as doubts, but as invitations to reveal more of his character. He sees your weariness not as weakness, but as a beautiful vulnerability that allows his strength to be made perfect. What you're about to experience isn't just a prayer. It's an encounter. It's a divine appointment between your weary heart and the heart of perfect love. It's a sacred exchange where you get to trade your heavy burdens for his light yoke, your restless thoughts for his perfect peace, your fearful imaginings for his faithful promises. The room you're in right now is about to become holy ground. The ordinary space around you is about to be filled with the extraordinary presence of the one who loves you more than life itself. Your heart, tired from carrying so much for so long, is about to find the rest it has been desperately seeking. As we prepare to pray together, I want you to imagine Jesus stepping into your space right now, not as a distant deity or an abstract concept, but as the most loving, understanding, compassionate friend you could ever have. He comes not to judge or criticize, but to comfort and heal. He comes not to add to your burdens, but to carry them for you. Picture him looking at you with eyes full of love, understanding every struggle you've faced, every tear you've cried, every sleepless night you've endured. See him extending his hands toward you, hands that were pierced for your peace, hands that are strong enough to hold your entire world, yet gentle enough to wipe away your tears. This is the Jesus who wants to hold your heart tonight. This is the Savior who invites you to cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. This is the Prince of Peace who offers you rest for your weary soul, comfort for your troubled heart, and hope for your uncertain future. Tonight marks the beginning of a new chapter in your relationship with rest, with peace, with Jesus himself. Tonight, you stop carrying what you were never meant to carry and start receiving what has always been freely offered. Tonight, your heart finds its true home in the embrace of perfect love. The gentle invitation has been extended, and now it's time to take that first step toward the supernatural rest your soul has been craving. I want you to close your eyes now, not because darkness is required, but because sometimes we need to shut out the distractions of this world to fully receive what heaven wants to pour into our hearts. Feel your body begin to release the tension it's been holding. Notice how your shoulders have been carrying weight that doesn't belong to them. Sense how your jaw has been clenched against worries that aren't yours to solve. Recognize how your heart has been beating with the rhythm of anxiety rather than the steady pulse of divine peace. Jesus is here with you now, and his presence changes everything. The very atmosphere around you shifts when perfect love enters the room. The air becomes lighter, your breathing becomes deeper, and your spirit begins to recognize the voice it has been longing to hear. This is what your heart was created for, this sacred moment of connection with the one who formed you in love. Let me tell you what's happening in the spiritual realm as you prepare to surrender your heart to Jesus. Angels are gathering around you, not as distant spectators, but as witnesses to this beautiful act of trust. Heaven itself leans in when a weary heart chooses to rest in perfect love. The Father's attention is completely focused on you in this moment, delighting in your decision to let go and let His Son hold what you've been carrying. Your heart, that precious part of you that feels so fragile right now, is about to be cradled by hands that formed the mountains and painted the sunsets. The same voice that spoke creation into existence is about to whisper peace over your restless thoughts. The same love that held nothing back at the cross is about to embrace every broken piece of your story and make it beautiful. I know you might be wondering if you're worthy of this kind of attention, this level of care from the God of the universe. Let me settle that question once and for all. Your worth isn't determined by your performance, your achievements, or your ability to keep it all together. Your value was established the moment Jesus chose to die for you, and nothing you've done or failed to do can change that truth. Tonight, as you prepare to let Jesus hold your heart, you're not coming as someone who has earned this privilege. You're coming as someone who is deeply loved, completely accepted, and eternally cherished. You're coming as a child running into the arms of the most loving Father, knowing that His embrace is your rightful place. The worries that have been circling your mind like vultures are about to encounter the light of His presence, and darkness cannot survive where perfect love dwells. The fears that have been whispering lies about your future are about to be silenced by the voice of truth speaking promises over your life. The anxiety that has been stealing your peace is about to be replaced by a calm that defies all human understanding. As we begin to pray together, I want you to understand that this isn't about using the right words or following a perfect formula. This is about heart meeting heart, love encountering love, and brokenness finding wholeness in the presence of the one who makes all things new. Your sincerity matters more than your eloquence. Your honesty matters more than your theological precision. Jesus isn't looking for polished prayers or impressive spiritual language. He's looking for authentic hearts that are ready to trust Him with their deepest needs. He's listening for the cry of souls who are tired of pretending they have it all figured out and are ready to rest in His perfect wisdom and love. Right now, in this sacred moment, I want you to picture Jesus extending His hands toward you. These aren't ordinary hands. These are hands that touched the blind and gave them sight, hands that reached out to the outcasts and welcomed them home, hands that were nailed to a cross because His love for you knew no limits. These hands are strong enough to hold your heaviest burdens without trembling, gentle enough to caress your wounded heart without causing pain, and faithful enough to never let you go even when you doubt His love. These are the hands that want to hold your heart tonight, not to control it, but to heal it, comfort it, and fill it with His perfect peace. I can sense the Holy Spirit moving in this place, preparing your heart for what's about to happen. He's been drawing you to this moment for longer than you realize, orchestrating circumstances and stirring longings in your soul that could only be satisfied by this divine encounter. Every restless night, every anxious thought, every moment of feeling overwhelmed has been leading you here, to this place of surrender. The enemy of your soul has been working overtime to convince you that you're too broken, too messy, too far gone for Jesus to want to hold your heart. But those are lies from the pit of hell, and tonight we're going to silence them with the truth of God's incredible love for you. You are not too much for Jesus. You are not beyond His reach. You are not disqualified from His grace. In fact, it's often the most broken hearts that experience the most profound healing when they're placed in the hands of perfect love. It's the most anxious minds that discover the deepest peace when they're surrendered to the Prince of Peace. It's the most weary souls that find the most complete rest when they stop striving and start trusting. Your story isn't over, and your struggles don't define you. Tonight, you're writing a new chapter, one where you choose trust over fear, surrender over control, and rest over restlessness. Tonight, you're discovering what it means to be held by love that will never fail you, never leave you, and never stop fighting for your highest good. As we prepare to enter into prayer, I want you to release any pressure to feel a certain way or have a particular experience. God meets us wherever we are, however we come to Him. Whether you feel His presence immediately or sense His love gradually, whether you experience overwhelming peace or quiet assurance, trust that He is working in ways that are perfect for you. Some of you will feel warmth washing over you like a gentle tide. Others will sense a lightness you haven't experienced in months or even years. Some will hear His voice like a whisper in your spirit, while others will simply know that you are loved beyond measure. All of these are beautiful expressions of His presence, and none is more valuable than another. The key is not to analyze the experience, but to receive it. Don't question the gift, just open your hands and your heart to whatever Jesus wants to give you. Don't try to figure out how it works, just trust that perfect love knows exactly what your heart needs and how to provide it. Your Heavenly Father has been waiting for this moment, watching with anticipation as you've made your way to this place of surrender. He's been preparing blessings specifically for you, peace with your name on it, hope designed for your particular struggles, and love that fits the exact shape of your wounded heart. Tonight, you join the countless souls throughout history who have discovered that the safest place in the universe is in the hands of Jesus. You become part of a beautiful story of hearts finding rest, minds discovering peace, and spirits being renewed by the touch of perfect love. The transformation that's about to take place in your heart will ripple out into every area of your life. The peace you receive tonight will change how you face tomorrow's challenges. The love you experience will alter how you see yourself and others. The rest you find will become a foundation for a life lived in divine rhythm rather than human striving. Now, take one more deep breath, feeling your entire being settle into this moment of sacred surrender. Let your heart open like a flower, turning toward the sun, ready to receive all the love, peace, and comfort that Jesus is longing to pour into your life. The prayer is about to begin, and your heart is about to find its true home. Jesus, as I come before you in this quiet moment, I feel the weight of everything I've been carrying. My heart feels heavy with burdens that seem too much to bear alone. The anxieties that have been my constant companions, the worries that wake me in the middle of the night, the fears about tomorrow that steal my peace today, I bring them all to you now. Lord, I confess that I've been trying to be strong for so long that I've forgotten how to be vulnerable. I've been holding on to control so tightly that my hands are cramped from the effort. I've been running on empty, pushing through exhaustion, pretending that I can handle whatever life throws at me. But tonight, I surrender that false strength and choose to find my rest in you. Jesus, I invite you into every corner of my heart that has been closed off by pain, protected by walls I've built to keep from being hurt again. I ask you to enter the places where disappointment has made its home, where rejection has left its mark, where loneliness has whispered lies about my worth. Come into those sacred spaces and fill them with your presence. I give you my racing thoughts that spin like a carousel I can't stop. Take the endless mental loops of what if and why, me and how will I ever. Replace them with your truth, your promises, your perfect peace that guards my heart and mind. Help me to cast down imaginations that exalt themselves against your character and your love for me. Lord, I surrender my need to figure everything out before I can rest. I release my demand to see the whole staircase before I take the first step. I lay down my requirement to understand your ways before I trust your heart. Help me to be content with knowing you are good, even when I can't see how the story ends. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess the ways I've tried to carry burdens that belong to you. I've taken responsibility for outcomes I cannot control. I've worried about people I cannot change. I've carried guilt for mistakes I cannot undo. Tonight, I transfer all of these weights from my shoulders to yours, knowing that your yoke is easy and your burden is light. I bring you my financial fears, Lord. The anxiety about having enough, about providing for those I love, about unexpected expenses and uncertain income. You know my needs before I ask, and you promise to supply all my needs according to your riches in glory. Help me to trust your provision and rest in your faithfulness. I surrender my relationship concerns to you, Jesus. The tensions with family members, the conflicts with friends, the loneliness that creeps in even when I'm surrounded by people. You are the God of reconciliation and restoration. You specialize in healing broken relationships and mending wounded hearts. I trust you with every relationship in my life. Lord, I give you my health anxieties, the fears about my body, the worries about aging, the concerns about illnesses that might come. You are the great physician, and you know every cell in my body. You have numbered my days, and not one of them will pass without your knowledge and care. Help me to rest in your sovereignty over my physical well-being. Jesus, hold my heart as I release my children to you. The fear of not being a good enough parent, the worry about their choices, the anxiety about their future. You love them even more than I do, and your plans for their lives are good. Help me to pray more and worry less, to trust more and control less. I surrender my career concerns, Lord. The pressure to succeed, the fear of failure, the anxiety about making the right decisions. You have given me gifts and talents, and you will open the doors that need to be opened and close the ones that need to be closed. Help me to work as unto you and leave the results in your capable hands. Jesus, I bring you my dreams that have been deferred, my hopes that have been disappointed, my prayers that seem to go unanswered. I don't understand your timing, but I trust your heart. I believe that you are working all things together for my good, even when I can't see how the pieces fit together. Lord, hold my heart as I confess my struggles with comparison and inadequacy. The way I measure my life against others' highlight reels, the way I feel like I'm falling behind or not measuring up. Remind me that you have a unique plan for my life, that my worth is found in you, not in my achievements or others' opinions. I surrender my perfectionist tendencies to you, Jesus. The exhausting drive to get everything right, to never make mistakes, to earn love through performance. You love me as I am, not as I should be. Your grace is sufficient for all my weaknesses, and your strength is made perfect in my imperfections. Father, I give you my past wounds that still ache in the present. The hurts from childhood that shaped how I see myself, the betrayals that made it hard to trust, the losses that taught me to guard my heart. You are the God who heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. Bring your healing touch to every injured place in my soul. Jesus, I surrender my future to you completely. All my plans and dreams, all my hopes and aspirations, all my fears and uncertainties about what's coming. You hold tomorrow in your hands, and I can rest knowing that you go before me to prepare the way. Your thoughts toward me are thoughts of peace and not evil, to give me a future and a hope. Lord, hold my heart as I release my loved ones who have passed away. The grief that still catches me off guard, the questions about why they had to go, the longing to see them again. You are the God of all comfort, and you understand the pain of loss. Wrap your arms around my grieving heart and remind me that this separation is only temporary. I bring you my spiritual struggles, Jesus, the times when prayer feels dry, when your presence seems distant, when doubt creeps in like fog. You are faithful even when my feelings aren't, and your love doesn't depend on my spiritual performance. Draw me close and remind me that you will never leave me nor forsake me. Father, I surrender my desire to be understood by others, the frustration when people misinterpret my motives, when they judge without knowing my heart, when they make assumptions about my life. You see me completely and love me fully. Your opinion is the only one that ultimately matters. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my tendency to worry about things beyond my control. The state of the world, the direction of our culture, the problems I see but cannot fix. You are still on the throne, and you are working your purposes out. Help me to be a faithful steward of my sphere of influence and trust you with everything else. I give you my sleep, Lord. The restless nights, the racing thoughts that won't quiet down, the anxiety that steals my rest. You give your beloved sleep, and I claim that promise tonight. Let your peace wash over me like a gentle wave, carrying away all the tensions of the day. Jesus, I surrender my need to have all the answers right now, the questions about your will, the uncertainty about the next steps, the confusion about which door to walk through. You promise to direct my steps as I acknowledge you in all my ways. I trust that you will make my path clear as I need to see it. Lord, hold my heart as I release my expectations about how you should work in my life. The timelines I've created, the methods I think you should use, the outcomes I've determined would be best. Your ways are higher than my ways, and your thoughts are higher than my thoughts. I choose to trust your wisdom over my understanding. I bring you my loneliness, Jesus. The feeling of being misunderstood, the sense that no one really gets me, the ache for deeper connection. You are the friend who sticks closer than a brother, and your presence fills every empty space in my heart. Help me to find my completeness in you. Father, I surrender my pride that keeps me from asking for help, from admitting I don't have it all together, from showing vulnerability. You resist the proud, but give grace to the humble. Humble my heart, and help me to receive the support and love that others want to give. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my impatience with your timing. The prayers that seem to take forever to be answered, the changes that happen too slowly, the healing that comes in stages rather than instantly. You make all things beautiful in your time, and I choose to rest in your perfect timing. I give you my fears about the future, Lord. The what-ifs that torment my mind, the scenarios I imagine that may never come to pass, the anxiety about things that haven't happened and may never happen. You have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Fill me with your perfect love that casts out all fear. Jesus, I surrender my attempts to earn your love through my behavior, the pressure to be good enough, to pray enough, to serve enough, to give enough. Your love is a gift, not a wage. It's based on your character, not my performance. Help me to rest in the security of your unconditional love. Lord, hold my heart as I release my disappointment with myself. The goals I didn't reach, the promises I didn't keep, the person I thought I would be by now. You are not disappointed in me because your love isn't based on my achievements. You see my heart and you are patient with my process. I bring you my physical exhaustion, Jesus. The weariness that goes deeper than just needing sleep, the tiredness that comes from carrying too much for too long. You promise rest for the weary, and I claim that promise now. Restore my strength and renew my energy according to your perfect will. Father, I surrender my need to please everyone around me, the exhausting effort to make everyone happy, to avoid conflict at all costs, to be what everyone else wants me to be. You are the only audience that matters, and you are already pleased with me because of Jesus. Help me to live for your approval alone. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggles with forgiveness, the people who have hurt me, the wounds that still feel fresh, the desire for justice that sometimes overshadows mercy. You have forgiven me of so much, and you call me to extend that same grace to others. Give me the strength to forgive as you have forgiven me. I give you my creative dreams and aspirations, Lord. The talents you've given me that I'm afraid to use, the callings I feel but doubt, the vision you've placed in my heart that seems too big for me. You have equipped me for every good work you've prepared for me to walk in. Give me courage to step into all you have planned. Jesus, I surrender my comfort zones to you, the familiar patterns that feel safe but keep me from growing, the routines that protect me but also limit me, the fear of change that keeps me stuck. You are doing a new thing, and I want to be open to all the ways you want to move in my life. Lord, hold my heart as I release my expectations of others. The ways I think they should treat me, the support I wish they would give, the understanding I long for them to show. You are my ultimate source of love, acceptance, and validation. Help me to love others without demanding that they fill needs only you can meet. I bring you my ministry concerns, Jesus. The desire to serve you effectively, the fear of saying the wrong thing, the pressure to have all the answers. You don't call the equipped, you equip the called. Use me as you see fit and help me to trust that your strength is made perfect in my weakness. Father, I surrender my need to understand why certain things have happened in my life. The losses that don't make sense, the suffering that seems purposeless, the prayers that appear to go unanswered. You work all things together for good for those who love you, even when I can't see how. I trust your heart even when I can't trace your hand. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my tendency to worry about my loved ones, the family members who don't know you, the friends who are making poor choices, the children who are struggling. You love them even more than I do, and you are pursuing them with relentless grace. Help me to pray without ceasing and trust without wavering. I give you my financial resources, Lord. Everything I have belongs to you anyway, and I want to be a faithful steward of what you've entrusted to me. Show me how to give generously, save wisely, and spend in ways that honor you. Provide for all my needs and help me to be content with what I have. Jesus, I surrender my reputation to you, what others think about me, how they interpret my actions, whether they approve of my choices. You are the only judge who matters, and you see my heart. Help me to live with integrity before you and leave my reputation in your hands. Lord, hold my heart as I release my attempts to control the people I love, the family members I want to change, the friends I wish would make better decisions, the spouse or children I try to manage. You are the only one who can truly change a heart, and you work in ways I cannot. Help me to love without controlling, and to trust you with those I care about most. I bring you my deep-seated insecurities, Jesus, the voice in my head that says I'm not enough, smart enough, talented enough, worthy enough, the comparison trap that steals my joy and makes me question my value. You knit me together in my mother's womb, and you don't make mistakes. Help me to see myself through your eyes of love and acceptance. Father, I surrender my need to have everything figured out spiritually. The questions about doctrine that keep me awake, the mysteries of faith that I can't solve, the desire to understand everything about you before I fully trust. Your thoughts are higher than mine, and some things will remain mysteries this side of heaven. Give me peace in the unknown, and help me to walk by faith, not by sight. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggles with contentment, the constant desire for more, better, different, the dissatisfaction with where I am in life, what I have, who I've become. You promise that godliness with contentment is great gain. Teach me to find my satisfaction in you alone and to be grateful for the blessings you've already given. I give you my social anxieties, Lord, the fear of being judged, the worry about saying the wrong thing, the exhaustion that comes from trying to be someone I'm not in social settings. You have created me uniquely, and you delight in who I am. Help me to be authentic and to trust that you will provide the right words and the right connections. Jesus, I surrender my grief over broken dreams. The marriage that didn't work out, the career path that got derailed, the children I thought I would have, the life I imagined but never lived. You have a plan for my life that is good, even when it looks different from what I expected. Help me to trust your redirection and to find hope in the new dreams you're placing in my heart. Lord, hold my heart as I release my anger toward those who have wronged me. The betrayals that cut deep, the injustices that still burn, the people who should have protected me but didn't. Vengeance belongs to you, and you will make all things right in your time. Heal my wounded heart and help me to choose forgiveness as an act of obedience to you. I bring you my parenting fears, Jesus, the mistakes I've already made, the damage I might have caused, the uncertainty about how to guide these precious souls you've entrusted to me. You are the perfect Father, and you can redeem my imperfections. Give me wisdom, patience, and grace as I seek to raise my children in your ways. Father, I surrender my people-pleasing tendencies that exhaust my soul. The inability to say no, the fear of disappointing others, the constant need for approval and validation. You have already approved of me through Christ, and your opinion is the only one that ultimately matters. Give me courage to set healthy boundaries and to live authentically before you. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my worry about aging and the passage of time. The fear of becoming irrelevant, the anxiety about physical decline, the sadness over seasons that have passed. You promise that even in old age you will not forsake me, and your plans for me span every season of life. Help me to embrace each stage with grace, and to trust your timing in all things. I give you my creative blocks and professional frustrations, Lord. The ideas that won't come, the projects that feel stalled, the sense that I'm not living up to my potential. You are the source of all creativity and wisdom. Open the floodgates of inspiration and help me to work with excellence as unto you, trusting that you will bless the work of my hands. Jesus, I surrender my need to be right in every argument and discussion. The pride that keeps me from admitting when I'm wrong. The stubbornness that damages relationships, the need to have the last word. You call me to be humble and quick to listen. Soften my heart and help me to value relationships more than being right. Lord, hold my heart as I release my fears about the state of the world. The darkness I see in the news, the evil that seems to be increasing, the concern for the kind of world I'm leaving for future generations. You are still sovereign over all the earth, and your kingdom will ultimately prevail. Help me to be salt and light in my sphere of influence while trusting you with the bigger picture. I bring you my seasonal depression and emotional struggles, Jesus. The days when sadness feels overwhelming, when hope seems distant, when I can barely get out of bed. You are close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Be my strength when I am weak, and my joy when sorrow threatens to consume me. Father, I surrender my perfectionist expectations for my spiritual life. The guilt when I miss my quiet time, the shame when my prayers feel dry, the condemnation when I struggle with the same sins repeatedly. Your mercies are new every morning, and your grace is sufficient for all my failures. Help me to receive your love even in my spiritual imperfections. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my impatience with slow progress in personal growth. The areas where I keep struggling, the patterns I can't seem to break, the person I'm becoming taking longer than I hoped. You are patient with my process, and you complete the good work you begin. Help me to trust your timing in my transformation and to celebrate small victories along the way. I give you my fear of vulnerability and deep connection, Lord. The walls I've built to protect myself, the masks I wear to hide my true feelings, the terror of being truly known and possibly rejected. You know me completely and love me unconditionally. Give me courage to risk authentic relationships and to trust that you will provide people who will love me as I am. Jesus, I surrender my obsession with productivity and achievement. The constant need to be doing something valuable, the guilt when I rest, the measurement of my worth by my accomplishments. You value my being more than my doing, and you delight in spending time with me even when I'm not producing anything. Teach me the sacred art of simply being in your presence. Lord, hold my heart as I release my disappointment with how my life has turned out so far. The dreams that didn't materialize, the opportunities I missed, the mistakes that altered my trajectory. You work all things together for good, and you can redeem even my failures for your purposes. Help me to trust that my story isn't over, and that you're writing something beautiful with my life. I bring you my fear of being a burden to others, Jesus. The hesitation to ask for help, the worry that my needs are too much, the tendency to suffer in silence rather than reach out. You created us for community, and you work through the body of Christ to meet our needs. Give me humility to receive help and grace to offer it to others. Father, I surrender my anxiety about making the wrong choices, the paralysis that comes from too many options, the fear of missing your will, the regret over past decisions that didn't turn out well. You promise to direct my steps as I acknowledge you in all my ways. Give me wisdom to make good decisions and peace to trust you with the outcomes. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with comparison on social media. The envy that rises when I see others' seemingly perfect lives. The inadequacy I feel when measuring my reality against their highlights, the time I waste scrolling instead of living. Help me to use technology as a tool for connection rather than comparison, and to find my identity in you alone. I give you my fear of failure and success, Lord. The paralysis that comes from the possibility of not meeting expectations, and equally, the terror of actually achieving my dreams and the responsibility that comes with it. You have plans to prosper me and not to harm me. Whether I succeed or fail by worldly standards, I'm secure in your love and purposes for my life. Jesus, I surrender my need to understand the why behind every trial and difficulty. The questions that keep me up at night about suffering, loss and pain that seem senseless. You are good even when life is hard, and you can bring beauty from ashes. Help me to trust your character when I can't understand your ways. Lord, hold my heart as I release my loved ones who are prodigals, the children who have walked away from faith, the spouses who have hardened their hearts, the friends who have chosen destructive paths. You are the God who pursues the lost with relentless love. I entrust them to your care and ask you to bring them home in your perfect timing. I bring you my health anxieties and body image struggles, Jesus. The fear of illness, the dissatisfaction with my appearance, the way I criticize the body you gave me. I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Help me to care for my physical health while finding my worth in who I am, not how I look. Father, I surrender my financial fears and money worries, the anxiety about retirement, the stress over debt, the concern about providing for my family's needs. You are Jehovah Jireh, my provider, and you know what I need before I ask. Help me to be a faithful steward while trusting you to supply all my needs according to your riches in glory. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my tendency to rush ahead of your timing, the impatience with slow answers, the desire to force doors open, the frustration with waiting seasons. You make all things beautiful in your time, and your delays are not denials. Teach me to wait on you with hope and to trust that your timing is perfect. I give you my ministry insecurities and calling concerns, Lord. The doubt about whether I'm qualified, the fear of making mistakes that could hurt others, the comparison with those who seem more gifted or successful. You don't call the equipped, you equip the called. Use me as you see fit and help me to faithfully steward whatever platform you give me. Jesus, I surrender my need to be needed by others, the codependent patterns that exhaust me, the inability to let others grow through their own struggles, the fear that I won't matter if I'm not solving everyone's problems. You are the ultimate helper and healer. Teach me when to step in and when to step back, always pointing others to you. Lord, hold my heart as I release my expectations of how others should grieve, heal, or grow. The frustration when people don't process things the way I think they should, the impatience with others' journeys, the desire to rush people through their seasons. You meet each person exactly where they are, and you work in individual ways and timing. Help me to love others without trying to control their processes. I bring you my fear of abandonment and rejection, Jesus. The terror of being left alone, the anxiety when relationships feel uncertain, the tendency to push people away before they can leave me. You promise never to leave me nor forsake me, and your love is the one constant in an ever-changing world. Heal my wounded heart and help me to receive love without fear. Father, I surrender my attempts to earn your blessings through good behavior. The works-based mentality that creeps into my relationship with you, the fear that I haven't prayed enough or served enough or given enough to deserve your goodness. Your blessings flow from your grace, not my performance. Help me to rest in your unmerited favor and to serve you from gratitude, not obligation. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with seasons of spiritual dryness. The times when prayer feels empty, when your presence seems distant, when worship feels mechanical. You are faithful even when my feelings aren't, and you never actually leave me. Draw me close during these desert seasons and remind me that you are working even when I can't sense it. I give you my fear of conflict and confrontation, Lord. The people-pleasing that keeps me from speaking truth in love, the avoidance of difficult conversations that need to happen, the peace at any cost mentality that sometimes enables unhealthy behavior. Give me courage to engage in healthy conflict and wisdom, to know when to speak and when to remain silent. Jesus, I surrender my desire to fix and rescue everyone around me. The exhaustion that comes from trying to solve problems that aren't mine to solve, the boundary issues that leave me depleted, the savior complex that keeps others from growing. You are the only true savior, and some lessons can only be learned through experience. Help me to love others without trying to control their outcomes. Lord, hold my heart as I release my shame over past mistakes and failures. The guilt that follows me like a shadow, the voice that says I'm disqualified because of what I've done, the inability to receive your complete forgiveness. If you have forgiven me, who am I to withhold forgiveness from myself? Wash me clean and help me to walk in the freedom you've provided. I bring you my fear of being ordinary, Jesus, the desire to be special, to make a significant impact, to be remembered after I'm gone. You have called me to faithfulness, not fame, and you value the hidden acts of love and service that no one else sees. Help me to find joy in being faithful in the small things and to trust you with the scope of my influence. Father, I surrender my tendency to catastrophize and imagine worst-case scenarios. The anxiety spirals that take me to dark places, the what-if thinking that steals my peace, the fear-based planning that assumes the worst will happen. You have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Fill my thoughts with your truth and your promises. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my jealousy and envy of others. The resentment when others receive what I've been praying for. The bitterness when someone else gets the opportunity I wanted. The comparison that breeds discontent. You have a unique plan for my life, and what you have for me is for me. Help me to celebrate others' blessings while trusting your timing for my own. I give you my fear of being misunderstood or misrepresented, Lord. The anxiety when people get the wrong impression, the desire to defend myself constantly, the exhaustion of trying to control how others perceive me. You see my heart and know my motives, and your opinion is the only one that ultimately matters. Give me peace in being misunderstood and grace to extend the same to others. Jesus, I surrender my need to have perfect circumstances before I can be happy or content. The mentality that says I'll be satisfied when this problem is solved or that goal is reached. The inability to find joy in the midst of difficulties. You call me to rejoice always, and you provide reasons for gratitude even in challenging seasons. Open my eyes to see your goodness in the present moment. Lord, hold my heart as I release my fear of death and dying. The anxiety about leaving loved ones behind, the uncertainty about the process of dying, the grief over all the things I might not get to experience. You have conquered death, and for those who believe in you, death is simply a doorway to eternal life. Give me peace about my mortality and help me to live fully in the time you've given me. I bring you my struggle with technology and social media boundaries, Jesus. The addiction to scrolling, the comparison trap of online life, the way technology sometimes isolates me from real relationships. You call me to live intentionally and to use all things for your glory. Help me to engage with technology in healthy ways that draw me closer to you and others. Father, I surrender my fear of not having enough time to accomplish all you've called me to do. The anxiety about missed opportunities, the regret over wasted years, the pressure to make up for lost time. You are the Lord of time, and you have appointed the right season for everything in my life. Help me to trust your timing and to be faithful with the time you've given me today. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with receiving compliments and affirmation. The discomfort when others praise me, the tendency to deflect or diminish positive feedback, the deep need for approval coupled with the inability to receive it. You delight in me and celebrate my growth and achievements. Help me to receive love and affirmation graciously while keeping you as my ultimate source of validation. I give you my fear of making the wrong parenting decisions, Lord. The overwhelming responsibility of shaping young lives, the second-guessing of every choice, the worry that I'm damaging my children despite my best intentions. You are the perfect Father, and you can work through my imperfections to accomplish your purposes in my children's lives. Give me wisdom, patience, and grace for this sacred calling. Jesus, I surrender my need to be strong for everyone else all the time. The exhaustion of being the one others lean on, the fear of showing weakness or vulnerability, the belief that I have to have it all together for others to feel secure. You are our ultimate strength, and it's okay for me to be weak sometimes. Help me to point others to you rather than trying to be their source of stability. Lord, hold my heart as I release my disappointment with the church and other believers. The hurt from religious trauma, the disillusionment with Christian leaders who have failed, the frustration with the gap between what faith should look like and what I sometimes see. The church is made up of imperfect people, but you are perfect. Help me to keep my eyes on you and to be part of the solution rather than just critiquing the problems. I bring you my fear of insignificance, Jesus. The worry that my life doesn't matter, that I won't leave a lasting impact, that I'm just one person in billions and nothing I do really makes a difference. You know every sparrow that falls, and you have numbered the hairs on my head. My life has infinite value to you, and you have prepared good works for me to walk in. Help me to find meaning in faithfulness rather than fame. Father, I surrender my attempts to manage everyone else's emotions and reactions. The exhausting effort to keep everyone happy, the way I take responsibility for how others feel, the people-pleasing that leaves me depleted. I cannot control how others respond to me or to life, and it's not my job to manage their emotional well-being. Help me to love others without trying to control their feelings. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my impatience with the pace of change in my life and relationships. The frustration when growth feels slow, the discouragement when old patterns resurface, the desire for instant transformation. You are patient with my process, and you work in seasons and stages. Help me to trust your timing in my sanctification and to celebrate small steps of progress. I give you my fear of being alone in old age, Lord. The worry about who will care for me, the anxiety about being forgotten or abandoned, the sadness over the possibility of outliving those I love. You promise never to leave me nor forsake me, and you have plans for every season of my life. Help me to trust that you will provide for my needs in every stage and to find my security in you alone. Jesus, I surrender the weight of generational patterns and family dysfunction. The cycles of addiction, abuse, or unhealthy relationships that seem to repeat, the fear that I can't break free from my family's legacy, the responsibility I feel to heal what previous generations have broken. You are a chain breaker and a generational curse breaker. What the enemy meant for evil, you can turn for good. Help me to walk in the freedom you've provided and to pass on a legacy of faith to those who come after me. Lord, as I lay all these burdens at your feet, I feel the lightness that comes from true surrender. My heart, which felt so heavy when we began, now feels held by hands that will never let me fall. These concerns that seemed so overwhelming when I was carrying them alone now seem manageable when placed in your capable care. Jesus, as you hold my heart tonight, I sense your whisper of love speaking truth over every lie I've believed about myself. Where anxiety once ruled, your peace now reigns. Where fear once tormented, your perfect love now casts out all terror. Where confusion once clouded my thoughts, your clarity now brings understanding. I feel the supernatural exchange taking place in my spirit. You are taking my weakness and giving me your strength. You are taking my sorrow and giving me your joy. You are taking my restlessness and giving me your perfect rest. This is what it means to let Jesus hold my heart, and I never want to take it back. Father, I feel your gentle hands cradling every broken piece of my heart, and I know that nothing I've surrendered tonight will be wasted. You are the God who specializes in making beautiful things from the fragments of our lives, and I trust you to weave even my deepest struggles into a tapestry of your grace. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to rest in the truth that you see every tear I've cried in secret, every prayer I've whispered in desperation, every moment when I've felt completely alone. You have been with me through every season, every storm, every valley, and you will continue to be my constant companion through whatever lies ahead. I surrender my need to understand the timeline of your healing work in my life, Lord. Some wounds you heal instantly with a miraculous touch. Others you heal gradually through the patient work of time and grace. Both are expressions of your love, and I trust your wisdom in knowing which healing method my heart needs most. Jesus, I give you my tendency to pick up the burdens I've just laid down. The way I surrender something to you in prayer and then find myself worrying about it again an hour later. Help me to recognize when I'm trying to take back what I've given you, and give me the strength to leave it in your hands where it belongs. I release my compulsion to check on the problems I've entrusted to your care, Father. The urge to peek around the corner and see how you're handling things. The desire to offer you suggestions about how you might solve my difficulties. You are infinitely wise and completely capable, and you don't need my assistance or supervision. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the deep exhale that comes when someone finally understands. You understand the complexity of my emotions, the contradictions in my thoughts, the way I can feel grateful and anxious at the same time. You hold space for all of it without judgment or the demand that I make sense. Jesus, I surrender my perfectionist expectations about this prayer experience itself, the voice that wonders if I'm doing this right, if I should be feeling something more dramatic, if my faith is strong enough for you to work powerfully. You meet me exactly where I am, with whatever faith I can muster, and that is always enough for you. I give you my fear of disappointing you, Lord. The anxiety that I won't live up to the investment you've made in my life. The worry that I'll fail you after you've been so good to me. Your love isn't conditional on my performance, and your grace covers every failure before it even happens. Father, I release my habit of rehearsing worst-case scenarios in my mind, the mental movies I create of everything that could go wrong, the way I prepare for disasters that may never come. You have not given me a spirit that imagines catastrophe, but one that hopes in your goodness and trusts in your protection. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with receiving your unconditional love. The part of me that insists I must earn affection, that believes love always comes with strings attached, that can't fathom being cherished simply for existing. Your love is a gift, not a wage, and it flows from your character, not my worthiness. I surrender my attempts to speed up your work in other people's lives, Lord. The impatience I feel when loved ones don't change as quickly as I think they should. The frustration when you don't answer my prayers for them in my timing. You are patient with their process, just as you are patient with mine, and your love for them is even greater than my own. Jesus, I give you my fear of being forgotten or overlooked, the anxiety that I might fade into the background of people's lives, that my absence wouldn't be noticed, that I don't matter as much as I hope I do. You have engraved my name on the palms of your hands, and I am constantly before you, never forgotten, always treasured. I release my need to have closure on every relationship that has ended, Father. The conversations that were never finished, the apologies that were never given or received, the questions that remain unanswered about why certain people left my life. You are my ultimate source of peace, and you can heal even those wounds that never received proper closure. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the sacred exchange of my limited perspective for your eternal viewpoint. Where I see problems, you see opportunities for growth. Where I see setbacks, you see setups for comeback. Where I see endings, you see new beginnings waiting to unfold. Jesus, I surrender my fear of vulnerability in relationships, the terror of letting people see my real struggles, my actual thoughts, my genuine emotions. You modeled perfect vulnerability by becoming human, by experiencing our pain, by showing us that strength is found in authenticity, not in pretending to be invincible. I give you my anxiety about being a good steward of the gifts you've given me, Lord. The pressure to maximize every talent, to make the most of every opportunity, to never waste the potential you've placed within me. You are more interested in my faithfulness than my fruitfulness, and you can multiply even my smallest offerings beyond what I can imagine. Father, I release my tendency to compare my internal struggles with others' external appearances. The way I assume everyone else has it figured out while I'm still wrestling with basic questions of faith and life. Everyone is fighting battles I know nothing about, and everyone needs the same grace I desperately require. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my impatience with the mundane aspects of life. The way I long for dramatic encounters with you, while overlooking the steady, quiet ways you show up in ordinary moments. You are present in the routine just as much as in the miraculous. And every day offers opportunities to recognize your hand at work. I surrender my fear of making mistakes that could hurt other people, Lord. The paralysis that comes from the possibility of giving wrong advice, making poor decisions that affect my family, or leading others astray through my own confusion. You can work through my imperfections and even use my mistakes as part of your perfect plan. Jesus, I give you my struggle with receiving help from others. The pride that insists I should be able to handle everything alone. The fear of being indebted to people. The discomfort with acknowledging that I have needs. You created us for community, and you often provide for our needs through the hands and hearts of other believers. I release my anxiety about whether I'm hearing your voice correctly, Father. The second guessing of impressions I think might be from you, the fear of misinterpreting your guidance, the confusion when different people claim to have heard different things from you about the same situation. You promise that your sheep know your voice, and you will confirm your direction in ways I can understand. Lord, as you hold my heart, I sense the deep rest that comes from finally stopping the exhausting work of trying to manage outcomes I cannot control. My shoulders drop, My jaw unclenches, my breathing deepens as I remember that you are in charge and I don't have to be. Jesus, I surrender my fear of not being enough for the people who depend on me, the worry that I'm failing as a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, as a leader. You don't call me to be perfect. You call me to be faithful. Your strength is made perfect in my weakness, and you can use my limitations to display your sufficiency. I give you my tendency to catastrophize about my health, Lord. The way every ache becomes a potential disaster, every symptom a reason for panic, every doctor's appointment a source of dread. You have numbered my days, and not one of them will pass without your knowledge and permission. Help me to take reasonable care of my body while trusting you with my health outcomes. Father, I release my need to defend myself against every criticism or misunderstanding, the exhausting effort to set the record straight, to make sure everyone has the right impression of me, to control how my words and actions are interpreted. You are my defender, and you will vindicate me when vindication is needed. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with seasonal depression and emotional heaviness. The days when sadness feels like a weight I can't shake, when hope feels distant and joy seems impossible. You are the lifter of my head, and you promise to restore the joy of my salvation even in the darkest seasons. I surrender my fear of financial insecurity, Lord. The anxiety about retirement savings, the worry about unexpected expenses, the stress of economic uncertainty. You are my provider, and you have never failed to meet the needs of those who trust in you. Help me to be wise with money while resting in your provision. Jesus, I give you my perfectionist expectations for my spiritual growth. The frustration when I repeat the same sins, the discouragement when prayer feels dry, the comparison with other believers who seem more mature in their faith. You are patient with my process, and you celebrate every small step forward in my journey with you. I release my fear of being judged for my past mistakes, Father. The shame that follows me into new relationships, the assumption that people would reject me if they knew my whole story, the tendency to disqualify myself from opportunities because of previous failures. You have removed my sins as far as the east is from the west, and you give me a clean slate every morning. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound peace that comes from knowing I am completely known and completely loved. There is nothing about me that surprises you, nothing that disappoints you beyond redemption, nothing that places me outside the reach of your grace. Jesus, I surrender my need to have all my questions answered before I can fully trust you. The theological puzzles that keep me awake at night, the mysteries of faith that I can't solve, the desire to understand your ways before I surrender to your will. You call me to walk by faith, not by sight, and some questions will only be answered in eternity. I give you my fear of insignificance in the grand scheme of things, Lord. The worry that my life doesn't matter, that my prayers don't make a difference, that I'm just one small person in a vast universe. You see every sparrow that falls, and you care about every detail of my life. Nothing about me is insignificant to you. Father, I release my attempts to earn your approval through religious performance, the pressure to pray enough, read enough, serve enough, to deserve your love and attention. Your love is a gift, not a reward, and it flows from your character, not my behavior. Help me to serve you from gratitude, not obligation. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my tendency to worry about things that haven't happened yet. The anxiety about potential problems, the fear of imagined futures, the stress about scenarios that may never come to pass. You give grace for today's troubles, and you will provide grace for tomorrow's challenges when tomorrow comes. I surrender my fear of conflict and confrontation, Lord. The people-pleasing that keeps me from speaking necessary truth, the avoidance of difficult conversations that need to happen, the peace at any cost mentality that sometimes enables harmful behavior. Give me courage to engage in healthy conflict and wisdom, to know when to speak and when to be silent. Jesus, I give you my struggle with comparison and envy. The way I measure my life against others' highlight reels, the bitterness that rises when others receive what I've been praying for, the discontent that comes from focusing on what I lack rather than what I have. You have a unique plan for my life, and what you have for me is for me. I release my fear of being abandoned by the people I love, Father. The anxiety when relationships feel uncertain, the tendency to push people away before they can leave me, the terror of being alone. You promise never to leave me nor forsake me, and your love is the one constant in an ever-changing world. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the gentle healing that comes from your touch. The wounds that have festered in darkness are being exposed to your light, and I know that what you expose, you heal. What you reveal, you restore. What you uncover, you make whole. Jesus, I surrender my need to be strong for everyone else all the time. The exhaustion of being the rock that others lean on, the fear of showing weakness or vulnerability, the belief that I have to have it all together for others to feel secure. You are our ultimate strength, and it's okay for me to be weak sometimes. I give you my fear of making the wrong decisions about my future, Lord. The paralysis that comes from too many options, the regret over past choices that didn't work out well, the anxiety about missing your will for my life. You promise to direct my steps as I acknowledge you in all my ways, and you can even use my mistakes for your purposes. Father, I release my disappointment with how slowly change happens in my life and character. The frustration when old patterns resurface, the discouragement when growth feels incremental, the desire for instant transformation. You are patient with my process, and you celebrate every small victory along the way. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my struggle with receiving compliments and affirmation from others. The discomfort when people praise me, the tendency to deflect positive feedback, the deep need for approval, coupled with the inability to receive it graciously. You delight in me and celebrate my growth, and you can teach me to receive love from others as well. I surrender my fear of not having enough time to accomplish all you've called me to do, Lord. The anxiety about wasted years, the pressure to make up for lost time, the regret over opportunities I may have missed. You are the Lord of time, and you have ordained the perfect season for everything in my life. Jesus, I give you my fear of death and what comes after, the anxiety about leaving loved ones behind, the uncertainty about the dying process, the questions about what eternity will really be like. You have conquered death, and for those who believe in you, death is simply graduation to a better life. Give me peace about my mortality and help me to live fully in the time you've given me. I release my need to understand why certain prayers seem to go unanswered, Father. The confusion when you say no or wait, the disappointment when your response is different from what I hoped for, the temptation to doubt your goodness when things don't go according to my plans. Your thoughts are higher than my thoughts, and your ways are perfect even when they're mysterious. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound rest that comes from finally stopping the endless mental chatter of worry and fear. My mind, which has been spinning like a hamster wheel, finally slows down and finds stillness in your presence. This is what my soul has been craving without even knowing it. Jesus, I surrender my attempts to fix and rescue everyone around me. The exhaustion that comes from trying to solve problems that aren't mine to solve, the savior complex that keeps others from learning their own lessons, the boundary issues that leave me depleted. You are the only true savior, and some growth can only happen through experience. I give you my fear of being misunderstood or misrepresented, Lord. The desire to defend myself constantly, the exhaustion of trying to control how others perceive me, the anxiety when people get the wrong impression. You see my heart and know my motives, and your opinion is the only one that ultimately matters. Father, I release my tendency to rush ahead of your timing in every area of life. The impatience with slow answers, the desire to force doors open, the frustration with waiting seasons. You make all things beautiful in your time, and your delays are not denials, but divine appointments with your perfect will. Jesus, hold my heart as I confess my fear of not being needed or valuable to others. The anxiety that I might become irrelevant, the worry that people only appreciate me for what I do rather than who I am, the terror of being forgotten. My value comes from being your beloved child, not from my usefulness to others. I surrender my habit of rehearsing conversations and scenarios in my mind, Lord. The mental preparation for conflicts that may never happen, the imaginary arguments I have with people, the endless planning for situations beyond my control. You give wisdom for each moment as it comes, and I don't need to script every interaction in advance. Jesus, I give you my fear of showing emotion or being seen as too sensitive. The pressure to be strong and stoic, the shame around tears or vulnerability, the belief that emotional expression is a sign of weakness. You created me with the full range of human emotions, and you yourself wept, rejoiced, and felt deeply. I release my need to have everything in my life perfectly organized and under control, Father. The anxiety when plans change, the stress when things don't go according to schedule, the frustration with chaos and unpredictability. You are sovereign over every detail of my life, and you can work through disruptions and unexpected changes. Lord, as you hold my heart tonight, I sense a fundamental shift happening in my spirit. The things that seemed so urgent and overwhelming just moments ago now seem manageable in your hands. The problems that felt insurmountable now seem small compared to your greatness. The fears that felt so real now seem like shadows that flee in the light of your love. Jesus, I feel your gentle fingers tracing over every scar on my heart, not to remind me of the pain, but to show me how you've been healing me all along. Every wound has become a place where your light can shine through, every broken place a testimony to your restoring power. I surrender the weight of trying to be perfect for you, Lord. The exhausting effort to earn your love through flawless behavior, the fear of disappointing you with my humanity, the belief that I must clean up my act before I can truly belong to you. You love me as I am, not as I should be, and your grace meets me in my mess. Father, as you hold my heart, I feel the deep security that comes from knowing I belong to you completely. I'm not my own. I've been bought with a price, and that price declares my infinite worth to you. Nothing can snatch me from your hand. Nothing can separate me from your love. Nothing can diminish my place in your heart. Jesus, I give you my fear of the future and all its unknowns, the anxiety about aging, the worry about my children's choices, the concern about world events beyond my control. You hold the future in your hands, and you go before me to prepare the way. Whatever comes, you will be there to meet me with sufficient grace. I release my need to be understood by everyone in my life, Lord. The frustration when people misinterpret my motives, the exhaustion of constantly explaining myself, the longing for someone who truly gets me. You understand me completely, and that understanding is enough to satisfy the deepest longing of my heart. Jesus, hold my heart as I surrender my dreams and aspirations to you completely. The goals I've set, the visions I've cherished, the hopes I've carried for years, I place them all in your hands, trusting that what aligns with your will shall come to pass, and what doesn't serve your purposes will be replaced with something better. I give you my fear of not being enough as a parent, spouse, friend, or leader, Father, the constant second-guessing of my decisions, the worry that I'm damaging the people I love, the pressure to be perfect in my relationships. You work through imperfect people to accomplish your perfect purposes, and you can redeem even my mistakes. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound peace that passes all understanding beginning to guard my thoughts and emotions. This isn't a peace that depends on circumstances being perfect. This is a supernatural peace that exists in the midst of any storm because it's rooted in your unchanging character. Jesus, I surrender my need to figure out how you're going to solve my problems. The mental energy I spend trying to see your plan, the anxiety when I can't imagine how things could work out, the tendency to offer you suggestions about how you might handle my situations. Your ways are higher than mine, and your solutions are always more creative than my limited imagination. I release my fear of being too much for the people in my life, Father. The worry that my needs are burdensome, the tendency to minimize my struggles so others won't feel overwhelmed, the belief that I should be able to handle everything alone. You created us for community, and you work through the body of Christ to meet our needs. Jesus, as you hold my heart tonight, I feel something I haven't felt in so long, complete and total rest. Not just physical rest, but soul rest. The kind of rest that comes from knowing I don't have to carry anything alone anymore. From trusting that you are taking care of everything I've placed in your capable hands. This is what I've been searching for in all the wrong places. This peace, this security, this sense of being completely loved and absolutely safe. I've looked for it in achievements, in relationships, in circumstances, but it was always here, waiting for me in your embrace. Father, as you hold my heart, I understand now what it means to cast all my cares upon you because you care for me. It's not just a nice Bible verse, it's a reality that transforms everything. When I truly believe that you care about every detail of my life, worry becomes unnecessary. When I really trust that you're working all things for my good, anxiety loses its power. Jesus, I feel the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat as you hold mine close to yours. My heart, which has been racing with fear and worry, begins to sync with the steady, peaceful rhythm of your perfect love. This is the synchronization my soul has been longing for without even knowing it. I surrender everything now, Lord, not just the big things that keep me awake at night, but also the small daily irritations that steal my joy. Not just the obvious sins that shame me, but also the subtle pride that keeps me from fully depending on you. Not just my problems, but also my solutions. Not just my weaknesses, but also my strengths. Father, as you hold my heart, I realize that this is where I was always meant to be, in your hands, under your care, surrounded by your love. This isn't just a temporary experience to get me through a difficult night. This is my permanent address in the kingdom of heaven. This is home. Jesus, I feel the transformation beginning in the deepest places of my spirit. Where anxiety once lived, your peace is moving in. Where fear once ruled, your love is taking residence. Where confusion once reigned, your clarity is establishing its throne. This is the supernatural exchange that happens when I let you hold my heart. Lord, as this sacred time draws toward a close, I don't want to take my heart back. I want to leave it here, in your hands, where it belongs. I want to wake up tomorrow still feeling held by you, still sensing your presence, still walking in the peace that comes from complete surrender. I know that challenges will come, that problems will arise, that my emotions will sometimes try to convince me I'm alone again. But tonight has changed something fundamental in my understanding of where my security lies. Tonight, I've experienced what it feels like to be truly held by perfect love, and that experience will anchor my soul, no matter what storms may come. Jesus, as you continue to hold my heart, speak to me through the silence of this night. Minister to me through dreams and rest. Heal me while I sleep. Transform me as I surrender. When I wake, may I carry with me the deep knowing that I am loved, I am held, and I am never alone. Father, as I rest in your embrace tonight, I want to speak over my life the promises you have already spoken. I declare that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, that your thoughts toward me are thoughts of peace and not of evil, that you have plans to prosper me and give me hope. These aren't just beautiful words, they are the bedrock truths upon which I build my identity. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I choose to believe what you say about me rather than what my circumstances suggest, what my feelings whisper, or what my past experiences have taught me to expect. You say I am chosen, beloved, set apart for good works that you prepared beforehand for me to walk in. You say, I am more than a conqueror, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, that nothing can separate me from your love. I receive these truths not as distant theological concepts, but as present realities that transform how I see myself, how I approach tomorrow, how I interpret the events of my life. When doubt comes knocking, I will answer with your promises. When fear tries to overwhelm me, I will stand on the foundation of your faithfulness. When anxiety attempts to steal my peace, I will remember this moment when your perfect love cast out all terror. Lord, I feel the sacred exchange continuing to work in my spirit. You are taking my restless striving and giving me your perfect rest. You are taking my need to control and giving me your invitation to trust. You are taking my fear of the unknown and giving me your promise to never leave me nor forsake me. This is the divine mathematics of grace. You take what is broken and make it beautiful. You take what is fearful and make it faithful. You take what is weary and make it whole. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to memorize this feeling so I can return to it whenever the world tries to convince me I'm carrying burdens alone. I want to remember the lightness in my chest, the stillness in my mind, the warmth in my spirit that comes from being completely held by perfect love. This is my reference point now, my true north, my home base from which I navigate all of life's complexities. I understand now that letting you hold my heart isn't a one-time event, but a daily choice, a moment-by-moment decision to surrender rather than struggle, to trust rather than strive, to rest rather than wrestle. Every morning I can choose to place my heart back in your hands. Every evening I can return to this place of sacred surrender. Every difficult moment I can remember that I don't have to face anything alone. Father, I feel you healing places in my heart that I didn't even know were wounded. The subtle rejections that taught me to guard my affection. The small disappointments that made me hesitant to hope. The quiet fears that convinced me I had to be perfect to be loved. Your gentle touch is reaching into those hidden corners and speaking truth over every lie I've believed about myself. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn the rhythm of grace that governs your kingdom. It's not the frantic pace of human striving, but the steady, unhurried pulse of divine love. It's not the demanding schedule of performance-based acceptance, but the gentle flow of unconditional belonging. It's not the exhausting cycle of earning and losing approval, but the constant stream of unchanging affection. I surrender my addiction to urgency, Lord. The belief that everything needs to be fixed immediately, that all problems require instant solutions, that delays equal disasters. You work in seasons and stages, in processes and progressions. Some of your greatest miracles happen slowly. Some of your most beautiful transformations occur gradually. Some of your most profound healings unfold over time. Jesus, I give you my impatience with mystery and uncertainty. The demand to understand before I trust, to see before I step, to know before I go. Faith, by definition, involves trusting what I cannot see, hoping for what I do not yet possess, believing in outcomes I cannot guarantee. You call me to walk by faith, not by sight, and that requires a different kind of courage than the world recognizes. Father, as you hold my heart, I feel my perspective shifting from earth's temporary troubles to heaven's eternal purposes. The problems that seem so overwhelming begin to shrink in the light of your sovereignty. The challenges that felt insurmountable become opportunities to witness your power. The circumstances that appeared hopeless become canvases for your miraculous intervention. I release my attachment to specific outcomes, Lord. The rigid expectations about how my prayers should be answered, the detailed plans I've made for how my life should unfold, the precise timelines I've created for when breakthrough should come. Your ways are higher than my ways, your thoughts higher than my thoughts, and your solutions more creative than my limited imagination could conceive. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn contentment in every season. Not the passive resignation that gives up on hope, but the active trust that finds peace in uncertainty, joy in waiting, strength in surrender. You are teaching me that happiness depends on circumstances, but joy comes from you. Pleasure is temporary, but peace is eternal. Excitement fades, but your love remains constant. I surrender my need to be validated by others' understanding of my journey, Father. The desire for people to approve of my choices, to comprehend my struggles, to affirm my decisions. Your approval is the only validation I need, your understanding the only comprehension that matters, your affirmation the only confirmation I require. When I know I'm loved by you, the opinions of others become less critical to my sense of worth. Jesus, I give you my fear of disappointing people who have expectations of me. The pressure to live up to others' visions for my life, the weight of not wanting to let down those who believe in me, the anxiety about failing to meet standards I didn't set for myself. You have called me to live for an audience of one, and that one is already pleased with me because of your perfect sacrifice on my behalf. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the deep healing that comes from being seen completely and loved unconditionally. There are no masks in your presence, no pretense required in your kingdom, no performance necessary for your affection. You see my thoughts before I think them, know my words before I speak them, understand my needs before I express them. And your response to all of it is unwavering love. I release my shame about being needy, Father. The embarrassment about having struggles, the guilt about requiring support, the belief that mature people should be self-sufficient. You created us with needs so that we would turn to you, depend on each other, and discover that weakness can be a doorway to divine strength. My neediness isn't a flaw to be hidden, but an invitation to experience your sufficiency. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to embrace the beautiful vulnerability of being truly known. Not the terrifying exposure that comes from having secrets discovered, but the sacred intimacy that comes from willingly opening my heart to perfect love. You know every failure and love me still, see every weakness and strengthen me anyway, understand every fear and comfort me completely. I surrender my attempts to earn what you freely give, Lord. The religious striving that tries to purchase grace, the spiritual performance that attempts to buy blessings, the moral effort that seeks to deserve mercy. Your gifts are freely given because of your character, not earned because of my conduct. Your love flows from your nature, not from my behavior. Jesus, I give you my fear of being ordinary or unremarkable. The pressure to achieve something significant, to make a lasting impact, to be remembered after I'm gone. You don't measure significance the way the world does. In your kingdom, faithfulness matters more than fame, character more than charisma, love more than accomplishment. The most extraordinary life is one lived in simple obedience to your will. Father, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound rest that comes from knowing my identity is secure in you. I am not defined by my successes or failures, my strengths or weaknesses, my achievements or mistakes. I am defined by your choice to call me your child, your decision to make me your own, your determination to love me with an everlasting love. I release my need to prove my worth through achievement, Lord. The driven pursuit of goals that I hope will finally make me feel valuable, the exhausting effort to accumulate enough success to quiet the voice that says, I'm not enough. My worth was established at the cross, declared in your word, and sealed by your Spirit. Nothing I do can add to it, and nothing I fail to do can diminish it. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn the difference between healthy ambition and anxious striving. Healthy ambition flows from gratitude and seeks to steward gifts well. Anxious striving flows from insecurity and seeks to prove worth through performance. Healthy ambition rests in your timing. Anxious striving demands immediate results. Healthy ambition trusts your provision. Anxious striving fears scarcity and lack. I surrender my timeline for healing and breakthrough, Father. The impatience when change doesn't happen as quickly as I'd like. The frustration when progress feels slow. The discouragement when setbacks occur. You are not in a hurry because you are not worried. You work in perfect timing, and your delays are often part of your design, preparing me for blessings I couldn't handle prematurely. Jesus, I give you my tendency to catastrophize about the future. The imagination that always assumes the worst will happen, the mind that prepares for disaster rather than expecting blessing, the heart that braces for disappointment rather than hoping for goodness. You have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Help me to think thoughts that align with your promises rather than my fears. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the sacred stillness that comes when striving finally stops. My soul, which has been running on empty for so long, finally finds the refueling station it's been desperately seeking. This isn't temporary relief, but eternal refreshment, not momentary peace, but lasting tranquility, not fleeting comfort, but abiding consolation. I release my attempts to manage everyone else's opinion of me, Father. The exhausting effort to be all things to all people. The impossible task of pleasing everyone simultaneously, the anxiety that comes from trying to control how others perceive my words and actions. Your opinion is the only one that carries eternal weight, and you have already declared me beloved, chosen, and accepted in the beloved. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to embrace the beautiful simplicity of childlike trust. Not naive ignorance that refuses to acknowledge problems, but mature faith that recognizes your sovereignty over every situation. Children don't worry about tomorrow's meals because they trust their parents to provide. I want to trust you with that same uncomplicated confidence. I surrender my need to understand the purpose behind every trial, Father. The questions that begin with, why did you allow, and what good could come from, and how does this fit your plan? Some mysteries will only be solved in eternity, some purposes will only be revealed in retrospect, some meanings will only be understood when I see you face to face. Until then, I choose to trust your heart even when I can't trace your hand. Jesus, I give you my fear of being misunderstood or judged unfairly. The anxiety when people make assumptions about my motives, the frustration when my words are taken out of context, the hurt when others attribute wrong intentions to my actions. You understand me perfectly, and your understanding is sufficient to heal the wounds that come from being misinterpreted by others. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the gentle transformation that occurs when perfect love encounters imperfect humanity. You don't love me in spite of my flaws, but through them, not despite my weaknesses, but in them, not around my struggles, but within them. Your love doesn't wait for me to get my act together. It meets me in the middle of my mess and begins the beautiful work of making all things new. I release my fear of not having enough time to accomplish everything you've called me to do, Father. The anxiety about wasted years, the regret over missed opportunities, the pressure to make up for lost time. You are the Lord of time, and you redeem even the seasons that feel unproductive. What the locust has eaten, you can restore. What seems like delay may actually be divine preparation. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn the art of sacred waiting. Not passive inactivity that refuses to engage with life, but active patience that trusts your timing while remaining faithful in the present moment. Waiting isn't wasted time when it's spent in your presence, seeking your face, growing in your grace, and preparing for what you have ahead. I surrender my attempts to fast-track spiritual maturity, Lord. The impatience with my own growth process, the frustration when I repeat familiar patterns, the discouragement when sanctification feels slow. You are patient with my progress because you see the end from the beginning. You know who I'm becoming, even when I can only see who I've been. Jesus, I give you my fear of insignificance in the vastness of creation. The feeling of being just one person among billions, the worry that my life doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, the question of whether my existence makes any real difference. You know every star by name, and you know every detail of my life. Nothing about me is insignificant to you, and nothing I do in love is ever wasted. Father, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound security that comes from belonging to you completely. I'm not my own. I've been bought with a price, and that price declares my infinite value to the one who matters most. This belonging isn't based on my performance, but on your grace, not on my worthiness, but on your love. Not on my faithfulness, but on your commitment. I release my need to have perfect theology before I can have perfect trust, Lord. The intellectual pride that wants to understand everything before surrendering anything. The analytical mind that demands explanations before offering obedience. The scholarly approach that values knowledge over relationship. You reveal yourself to babes even as you hide from the wise and prudent. Simple faith often sees what sophisticated reasoning misses. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to embrace the mystery of your love without needing to solve it. Like a child who doesn't question a parent's affection but simply receives it, I want to rest in your love without analyzing it. Enjoy your presence without explaining it. Trust your goodness without defending it. Some gifts are meant to be received, not understood. I surrender my fear of vulnerability in relationships, Father. The terror of letting people see my real struggles. The anxiety about being judged for my authentic emotions. The tendency to hide behind masks rather than risk genuine connection. You modeled perfect vulnerability when you became human, and you call me to the same courage in my relationships with others. Jesus, I give you my tendency to minimize your work in my life. The habit of attributing your miracles to coincidence, your provision to luck, your protection to chance. You are actively involved in every detail of my existence, orchestrating circumstances, opening doors, providing resources, and working all things together for my good. Help me to recognize your hand in both dramatic interventions and subtle guidance. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the deep peace that comes from knowing you are working, even when I cannot see evidence of your activity. Like seeds growing underground before they break through the soil, your purposes are often developing in invisible ways before they become visible realities. Faith believes in the unseen work that precedes the seen breakthrough. I release my attachment to specific methods for how you should answer my prayers, Father. The detailed instructions I give you about how to solve my problems, the limited options I present for how you might work, the narrow expectations I have for how breakthrough should come. Your ways are creative beyond my imagination, your solutions more elegant than my suggestions, your timing more perfect than my schedule. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn contentment in the midst of uncertainty, not the false peace that comes from having everything figured out, but the true peace that comes from trusting the one who holds all things together. Uncertainty about circumstances doesn't have to mean uncertainty about your character. Your love remains constant even when life feels chaotic. I surrender my need to be strong for everyone around me all the time, Lord. The exhausting responsibility of being everyone's rock, the fear of showing weakness or need, the belief that others depend on my strength to feel secure. You are the ultimate source of strength, and sometimes the most loving thing I can do is demonstrate my own dependence on you, giving others permission to do the same. Jesus, I give you my fear of making mistakes that could have lasting consequences. The paralysis that comes from the possibility of choosing wrongly, the anxiety about decisions that might affect my family or future, the perfectionist demand to get everything right the first time. You can work through my imperfect choices and even use my mistakes as part of your perfect plan. Father, as you hold my heart, I feel the gentle healing that comes to places I didn't even know were wounded, the subtle fears that have shaped my choices, the quiet lies that have influenced my self-perception, the hidden shame that has affected my relationships. Your light exposes these shadows not to condemn, but to heal, not to shame, but to restore. I release my need to be needed by others in order to feel valuable, Lord. The codependent patterns that exhaust my soul, the savior complex that tries to rescue everyone, the people-pleasing that seeks validation through being indispensable. My value comes from being your beloved child, not from being useful to others. I can serve from love rather than from need. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to embrace the rhythm of grace that governs your kingdom. It's not the frantic pace of human achievement, but the steady pulse of divine love. It's not the demanding schedule of worldly success, but the gentle flow of spiritual growth. It's not the exhausting cycle of proving worth, but the constant stream of receiving love. I surrender my fear of being forgotten or overlooked by others, Father. The anxiety about fading from people's memories, the worry about becoming irrelevant or unimportant, the need to make a lasting impression on everyone I meet. You have written my name in the Lamb's Book of Life, and I am constantly before you, never forgotten, always treasured, eternally significant. Jesus, I give you my tendency to replay past conversations and situations in my mind. The mental loops that rehearse what I should have said, the imaginary scenarios where I defend myself better, the endless analysis of interactions that are already over. You offer me the gift of the present moment, and dwelling in the past or future robs me of the grace available right now. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the sacred exchange continuing to transform my inner landscape. Where anxiety once grew like weeds, your peace is planting flowers. Where fear once built walls, your love is opening windows. Where doubt once cast shadows, your truth is bringing light. This is the renovation of the soul that happens in your presence. I release my attempts to control other people's spiritual journeys, Father. The frustration when loved ones don't grow as quickly as I think they should, the tendency to give unsolicited advice about their relationship with you, the impatience with their process of faith. You are patient with each person's unique journey, and you work in individual timing and ways. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to learn the difference between healthy concern and anxious worry. Healthy concern takes appropriate action and then trusts you with the results. Anxious worry takes action and then continues to fret about outcomes. Healthy concern prays and releases. Anxious worry prays and retrieves. Healthy concern acknowledges problems. Anxious worry magnifies them. I surrender my fear of not being good enough as a spouse, parent, friend, or leader, Father. The constant second-guessing of my relationships, the worry that I'm failing the people I love, the pressure to be perfect in every role I fill. You work through imperfect people to accomplish your perfect purposes, and you can redeem even my relational mistakes for good. Jesus, I give you my struggle with receiving grace for repeated failures. The shame that comes from making the same mistakes over and over, the discouragement when old patterns resurface, the feeling that I should be further along in my spiritual journey by now. Your mercies are new every morning, and your grace is sufficient for all my weaknesses, not just the ones I struggle with once. Lord, as you hold my heart, I feel the profound rest that comes from knowing I don't have to earn your love through perfect behavior. Your affection for me is not a reward for good performance, but a gift flowing from your perfect character. This knowledge transforms my motivation from earning to gratitude, from striving to serving, from fear to freedom. I release my need to understand the theological mysteries that keep me awake at night, Father. the questions about suffering, sovereignty, and salvation that my finite mind cannot fully grasp. You call me to walk by faith, not by sight, and some truths will only be fully understood when I see you face to face. Until then, I choose to trust your heart, even when I cannot trace your hand. Jesus, as you hold my heart, I want to embrace the beautiful simplicity of trusting you completely. Not the naive simplicity that ignores real problems, but the mature simplicity that recognizes your sovereignty over every situation. This is the faith that moves mountains, not complicated theology, but simple trust in your goodness and power. I surrender my attachment to being understood by everyone in my life, Lord. The exhausting effort to explain myself constantly, the frustration when people misinterpret my motives, the longing for someone who truly gets me. You understand me completely, and that understanding is sufficient to heal the loneliness that comes from feeling misunderstood by others. Jesus, I give you my fear of the future and all its uncertainties. The anxiety about aging, health, finances, and world events beyond my control. You hold the future in your hands and you go before me to prepare the way. Whatever comes, you will be there to meet me with sufficient grace, adequate strength, and perfect love. Father, as you hold my heart tonight, I feel something shifting in the deepest places of my being. The transformation isn't just emotional or mental, but spiritual. Reaching into the core of who I am and rewriting the fundamental truths I live by. This is more than temporary comfort. This is eternal change, more than momentary peace. This is lasting transformation. I understand now that this experience of being held by you isn't meant to be a rare occurrence, but a daily reality. Every morning I can choose to place my heart in your hands. Every evening I can return to this place of surrender. Every difficult moment I can remember that I don't have to face anything alone because you are always with me, always caring, always working on my behalf. Jesus, as you continue to hold my heart, I want to memorize this feeling of complete security so I can return to it whenever the world tries to convince me otherwise. I want to remember the lightness in my chest, the stillness in my mind, the warmth in my spirit that comes from being perfectly loved and absolutely safe in your embrace. Lord, as this sacred encounter draws toward its gentle close, I don't want this moment to end. My heart, which came to you so heavy and burdened just a short while ago, now rests in your hands like a child finally home after a long, difficult journey. The weight I carried for so long has been lifted, and in its place you've given me something I had almost forgotten existed. True peace. Jesus. I feel your gentle whisper over my spirit, reminding me that this isn't goodbye, but rather the beginning of a new way of living. You're not releasing my heart back to the chaos of worry and fear. Instead, you're teaching me how to keep it anchored in your love, even as I navigate the complexities of daily life. This is the gift you offer every child who comes to you. Not escape from reality, but your presence within every reality. I sense you speaking over my sleep tonight, declaring that my rest will be sweet because it comes from trust rather than exhaustion, peace rather than resignation. As I close my eyes, I won't be shutting out the world in defeat, but opening my heart to receive the restoration that only comes when perfect love holds imperfect hearts. Father, you're showing me that tomorrow doesn't have to be a return to the old patterns of anxiety and control. Instead, it can be the first day of walking in the rhythm of grace I've discovered tonight. When challenges arise, and they will, I can remember this moment when your love proved stronger than my fears. When uncertainty creeps in, I can recall how securely I felt held in your embrace. Jesus, I understand now that letting you hold my heart isn't about becoming passive or disengaged from life. Rather, it's about learning to live from a place of rest instead of striving, trust instead of terror, faith instead of fear. This is the abundant life you promised, not absence of problems, but your presence in every problem. As I prepare to sleep, I feel your love wrapping around me like the softest blanket, your peace settling over my mind like gentle dew, your presence filling my room like the sweetest fragrance. This space has become holy ground because you've made your dwelling here, and I know that wherever I go tomorrow, I carry this sanctuary within my heart. I release every burden I've been carrying into your capable hands one final time tonight. The relationships that need healing, the decisions that require wisdom, the fears that steal peace, the dreams that need direction. All of it belongs to you now, and I trust you to work in ways that exceed my highest hopes and deepest longings. Lord, speak to me through my dreams tonight. Minister to the places in my heart that still need your touch. Continue the healing work you've begun, the transformation you've started, the peace you've established. Let every hour of sleep be an hour of restoration. Every moment of rest be a moment of renewal. Jesus, I want to wake tomorrow with the deep knowing that I am held, I am loved, and I am never alone. May this truth be the first thought in my mind and the foundation upon which I build every moment of the new day. You are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust, and nothing can shake that reality. Father, as sleep begins to call me into its gentle embrace, I surrender even my dreams to you. May they be filled with your presence, your promises, your peace. If old anxieties try to visit me in the night, remind my sleeping spirit of this moment when perfect love cast out all fear. If worries attempt to disturb my rest, let your still small voice whisper truth over every lie. I declare over my life that this night marks a turning point, a sacred moment, when I learned what it truly means to let Jesus hold my heart. From this day forward, I will live as one who is held, loved, and completely secure in the arms of perfect love. This is my new normal, my true identity, my eternal home. Jesus, hold my heart through the watches of the night and into the dawning of tomorrow. Keep me close to your loving heart, safe in your mighty hands, secure in your perfect will. When I wake, may I carry with me the unshakable confidence that comes from being completely known and unconditionally loved by you. Tonight has been a sacred milestone, a divine appointment between my weary soul and your endless love. As the gentle quietness of sleep begins to beckon, I feel my spirit settling into a rhythm I had forgotten existed. The frantic pace of my thoughts has slowed to match the steady cadence of your heartbeat, and for the first time in so long, I'm not fighting against rest, but welcoming it as a gift from your hand. Jesus, I sense you adjusting the very atmosphere around me, transforming my bedroom into a sanctuary where heaven touches earth. The ordinary pillows beneath my head become altars of surrender. The simple blankets over my body become robes of righteousness. The darkness outside my window becomes a canvas upon which you paint promises of hope for tomorrow. I feel you whispering over my weary bones, speaking strength into muscles that have carried tension for far too long. Your healing touch reaches into joints that have been stiff with stress, tendons that have been tight with worry, a spine that has been bent under burdens never meant for human shoulders. Even my physical body is learning what it means to rest in your presence. Lord, you're teaching me that true rest isn't just the absence of activity, but the presence of your peace. It's not merely the cessation of motion, but the commencement of trust. As my breathing deepens and my heartbeat slows, I'm discovering that sleep itself can become an act of worship, a declaration that I trust you to watch over what I cannot control while I surrender to the restoration my body needs. I release into your care every person who has been heavy on my heart tonight. The family members walking through difficult seasons, the friends facing impossible choices, the colleagues struggling with overwhelming pressures. Just as you're holding my heart, I trust you to hold theirs as well. Your love is not limited by my capacity to worry about them. It extends infinitely beyond anything I could ask or imagine. Father, I surrender to you the conversations I need to have tomorrow, the decisions that await my attention, the responsibilities that will call for my energy. Right now, in this sacred moment before sleep, none of those things require my mental engagement. They are safe in your hands, and I can rest knowing that your wisdom will guide me when the time comes to address them. Jesus, I feel you breathing your peace over the restless places in my mind that have been spinning with anxiety. Where thoughts have been racing like a river in flood, you're creating quiet pools of tranquility. Where worries have been multiplying like weeds in a garden, you're planting seeds of faith that will bloom into hope when morning comes. I give you my dreams tonight, Lord. May they be infused with your presence, filled with your truth, guided by your spirit. If my subconscious mind tries to process the day's stresses through troubled sleep, intervene with your perfect peace. Let every REM cycle become a time of spiritual renewal. Every deep sleep phase become a season of divine restoration. As my eyelids grow heavy with the weight of finally letting go, I'm amazed at how different this feels from the exhausted collapse I've known so many nights before. This isn't the sleep of the defeated, but the rest of the victorious. This isn't the unconsciousness of escape, but the peaceful slumber of one who knows they are perfectly safe in the arms of perfect love. Father, I feel you covering me with your favor like a warm blanket, surrounding me with your protection like mighty walls, filling my room with your presence like gentle light. The angels you've assigned to watch over me take their positions, not as distant guardians, but as intimate friends rejoicing in this moment of surrender between your heart and mine. Jesus, speak to my spirit while my conscious mind rests. Minister to the deep places that only you can reach, the hidden wounds that only you can heal, the secret fears that only you can calm. Do the work in my heart that can only happen when I'm completely yielded to your touch, totally surrendered to your will. I trust you with my tomorrow, Lord. The challenges that may come, the opportunities that may arise, the people I'll encounter, the words I'll speak, all of it rests in your sovereign hands, and I don't need to preview it, plan for it, or prepare for it tonight. My only job right now is to receive the gift of rest you're offering and trust you to equip me for whatever lies ahead. As sleep begins to claim my consciousness, I want my last waking thought to be of your faithfulness. You have never left me, never forsaken me, never stopped working on my behalf. Every sunrise has been evidence of your mercy. Every breath has been a gift of your grace. Every heartbeat has been a reminder of your sustaining power. Tonight has been more than a prayer, more than a moment of surrender. It has been a divine encounter that has forever changed the landscape of my soul. Jesus, I can feel the transformation settling into my spirit, like morning dew on fresh grass, gentle yet profound, subtle yet undeniable. This isn't an ending, but a graduation into a new way of being, a new way of breathing, a new way of trusting. I feel you sealing this experience into my heart like a treasured memory that will never fade. When the noise of the world tries to drown out the echo of this sacred hour, when the pressures of tomorrow attempt to steal the peace of tonight, I will remember. I will remember the feeling of your hands cradling my heart, the sound of your voice speaking love over my fears, the sensation of finally coming home to where I belong. Father, you're writing a new chapter in my story tonight, one where rest becomes my natural state rather than my desperate pursuit, where peace flows from my being instead of eluding my grasp, where trust replaces the exhausting work of trying to control outcomes I was never meant to manage. This is the life you always intended for me to live, and tonight I'm finally accepting the invitation. Jesus, I sense you imprinting this moment on my memory in ways that go deeper than my conscious mind can understand. Every cell in my body is learning what it feels like to be held by perfect love. Every thought in my head is being retrained to default to trust rather than terror. Every emotion in my heart is being recalibrated to hope rather than despair. I'm beginning to understand that this experience isn't meant to be hoarded like a private treasure, but shared like living water. The peace you've poured into my heart tonight is not just for me, but for everyone whose path will cross mine tomorrow. The love I've received is meant to overflow into the lives of others who are carrying burdens too heavy for their souls. Lord, I feel you commissioning me as an ambassador of the rest I've discovered, not through preaching or proclamation, but through the quiet confidence that comes from knowing I am held, through the gentle strength that flows from surrendered control, through the authentic peace that radiates from a heart finally at home in your love. As my consciousness begins to fade into the sweet embrace of sleep, I'm aware that I'm not the same person who began this prayer. Something fundamental has shifted in the core of my being. The anxious, striving, worried version of myself has been replaced by someone who knows what it means to be perfectly loved and completely secure. Jesus, I feel you breathing over my spirit one final blessing for this night, a blessing of deep rest that restores not just my body, but my soul. A blessing of dreams that reflect your goodness rather than my fears. A blessing of awakening that brings with it the renewed assurance that I am yours and you are mine forever and always. Father, as sleep finally claims me, I release myself completely into your care. I'm no longer my own keeper, no longer the guardian of my own peace, no longer responsible for holding my world together. That job belongs to you, and tonight I'm finally letting you do it. The sacred silence of this moment wraps around me like a gentle embrace, and I feel the profound shift that occurs when a weary soul finally finds its resting place. My breathing has become a prayer, each exhale releasing the last remnants of the day's tensions, each inhale drawing in the sweet presence of your spirit. This is what it means to be held by you, Jesus, and I never want to forget this feeling. In the quietness that follows surrender, I can almost hear the sound of heaven celebrating. Not with loud trumpets or crashing cymbals, but with the gentle satisfaction of a father who has finally convinced his child to rest. You're not surprised by my surrender tonight, Lord, because you've been orchestrating this moment for longer than I can comprehend. Every restless night, every anxious thought, every moment of feeling overwhelmed has been leading me here, to this place where I finally understand what it means to let go. I feel you smiling over me as my eyelids grow heavy, not with the weight of exhaustion, but with the sweet burden of trust. This is different from every other night I've tried to sleep while carrying the world on my shoulders. Tonight, the world belongs to you, and I belong to you, and that makes all the difference. The bed beneath me feels softer because I'm not fighting it anymore. The pillow cradles my head with tenderness because I've stopped trying to solve problems with my mind and started resting in your wisdom. Jesus, I sense you adjusting the very fabric of my dreams before they even begin. Where nightmares once found fertile ground in my anxious thoughts, you're planting seeds of hope. Where disturbing images once played out my deepest fears, you're preparing scenes of your faithfulness. My subconscious mind, which has been a battlefield for so long, is becoming a sanctuary where your voice is the only sound that matters. The transformation happening within me goes beyond what sleep can accomplish. This is soul surgery performed by the great physician, heart renovation conducted by the master builder, spirit renewal orchestrated by the author of life. You're not just helping me rest tonight, Lord. You're teaching me how to live from a place of rest tomorrow and every day that follows. I can feel the generational weight lifting from my shoulders as I surrender to sleep. The patterns of worry that were passed down through my family line, the cycles of anxiety that seemed impossible to break, the inherited tendency to carry burdens that belong to you. Tonight, it all stops with me. Tonight, I choose a different legacy to pass on, one marked by trust instead of terror, faith instead of fear, rest instead of restlessness. Father, as my consciousness fades into the gentle rhythm of sleep, I'm aware that this isn't an ending, but a beginning. Tomorrow I will wake as someone who has experienced what it means to be truly held by perfect love. I will carry this peace into every conversation, this rest into every responsibility, this trust into every trial. The person who awakens will be fundamentally different from the one who came to you, so burdened just hours ago. Jesus, hold my heart through every phase of sleep, from the lightest dream to the deepest rest. Let your presence be the constant in my unconscious hours, the steady rhythm that keeps my spirit anchored to you, even when my mind is not aware. When morning comes, may I wake not just refreshed in body, but renewed in spirit, not just restored in strength, but transformed in perspective. In these final moments before sleep claims me completely, I want to whisper one last prayer of gratitude. Thank you for not giving up on me when I was too proud to ask for help. Thank you for pursuing me when I was too busy to notice your presence. Thank you for holding my heart when I didn't even know it needed to be held. This is grace beyond measure, love beyond comprehension, peace beyond understanding. The last thing I want to remember as sleep takes me is the sound of your voice speaking my name with infinite tenderness. Not the harsh voice of condemnation I've heard for so long, but the gentle whisper of a father who delights in his child. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, but tonight I rest in the certainty that I am loved, I am held, and I am never alone. Sweet dreams come not from the absence of problems, but from the presence of the problem solver. Deep rest flows not from perfect circumstances, but from perfect trust. And tonight, wrapped in your love, cradled in your peace, held by your grace, I finally understand what it means to let Jesus hold my heart. Amen.